If everything has a creator, who created Allah? The basis of asking this question is actually not knowing physics well. Let us give an example. Can you give me your phone? Let's say, as an engineer, I invented and designed this phone. Naturally, two conclusions arise from this. One, if I designed this, naturally I am before this. Secondly, I am not subject to the rules I set for this. Because this is a phone and I am a human. They are different breeds. Just like in this example, God also designed the universe. Naturally, God is before the universe. Secondly, God is not subject to the rules such as the concepts of time and space that He has established in the universe. Naturally. For a person who is not bound by time, who created him? It is illogical and contradictory to ask about the past tense. We also have a situation like this. If I resort to an endless cycle of permission to invent this phone, I cannot design this phone unless I receive permission. Since the universe was created, it means that there has never been an endless creative cycle. What do you call this endless cycle of permissions? Or like the previous example. If I were to get permission from my boss to design the phone, and my boss got permission from his superior, and so on, I could never invent this phone. From where? Because permission never comes. But if the phone appeared and I designed it, what do we automatically say? So, that endless cycle of permission was never taken. Just like in this example, God also designed the universe. So you can never get into that endless cycle of permission. Who created it? Who created it? There was no such infinite loop. Because the universe is obvious. Did God have a need to create us? The concept of need is understood when helplessness comes into play. For example, I need water. From where? Because I also have a situation of helplessness. But for God, who has infinite power and in whom there is no helplessness, there is no helplessness. This means that Allah does not need anything. For example, let's give an example. If this is a fully lit place, can we talk about the shadow and darkness levels? We can't talk about it. Just like in this example, for Allah, who has infinite power, the concept of need is out of question since helplessness does not come into play and there is no gradation. So why did He create it if He didn't need it? We need to mention a feature here too. They are reflections and manifestations of Allah's names and attributes. For example, Allah has the name Hakim, there is the name Rahim, there is the name Sivad. The name Hakim means the ability to do something in the most logical and useful way. Since God has this feature, His creation of the universe is the manifestation of the name Hakim, which is God's feature of doing the most useful and logical work. The other name is the name Rahim. This is because of His compassion and mercy. Since Allah is the owner of infinite treasure, He wanted and chose to design a universe and provide treats to people and living creatures through the manifestation of the name Rahim. Also, Allah's name Sivad comes from generosity, it is the manifestation of generosity. We see that God designed the universe and provided gifts with His generosity. Okay, you answered, but they also ask, God forbid, is God egoistic? In other words, we can explain the concept of egoism in two main ways. The first is selfishness. The second is to present what one does not have as if it were present or to present it as superior. However, for God, these two concepts are not applicable. First, selfishness. God created and sent all the benefits for us. So the concept of selfishness does not apply to this. Secondly, God does not say what is not in Him. I know everything, He says, which He knows. I am capable of everything, I have enough power, He says, introducing Himself, who is capable of everything. This means that the concept of egoism is out of the question for God. In addition, the concept we call ego is valid for similar concepts. For example, there may be a concept of egoism between the two of us. Who is more superior like this? But can I come into this room and say to the glasses, "Go, I am superior to you"? I don't say. Because these are glasses. Isn't it? It sounds funny. Likewise, there is no egoism between different concepts. Of course, there will be no concept of ego, like the concept of superiority, between God and man. That would be funny. Okay, He doesn't need it, okay, He is not egoistic. He created us, but why does He expect worship from people? So, of course, we cannot look at this incident as a need. If we say need, it is a need for people, not for God. Yes, people need worship. We can say that people are actually spiritually sick. Of course, when a doctor gives medicine to a patient, it is for the patient's condition, otherwise it is of no use to the doctor. Then why does God want worship from us? Because we are spiritually ill, as we said, and because we need eternity, we need to constantly remember God and constantly know that we will go to eternal life, that is, heaven. So Allah does not need our worship. Moreover, since we have been sent to the world on a serious mission, that is, the task of knowing God, of course, we need to focus on our main duty, that is, the mission of finding God, with constant worship, so that we do not get overwhelmed by temporary worldly affairs. We're out of questions. More difficult questions will be waiting for you in the following chapters. There are no difficult questions. There is a question with an unknown answer.